Okay, I tried 3 times to film this, so this is the third one, and I hope it is the last one. That's what I'm gonna say. So this is a video I'm filming from my mother's room, not from mine, and I hope that the light will not be too intense. I hope that it will be a little bit low. That makes sense. Yesterday I was talking about the little match girl, and and I I decided I found a video right here. It's 6 minutes and something long, almost 7. I decided to speak about this video. It's the story of the little match girl that I hated when I was a small girl myself. So I'm not quitting the analysis that I was doing about Zeus and Hera yesterday. I promised I will do that, and the dream sequence and shit. Probably tomorrow, by all means. I'm not quite sure, but what I'm saying is that the the video that I'm doing today is an emergency, I suppose, one. I did the posts yesterday, and I thought to myself that I would like to explain a little bit what I hated as a girl. I explained what I hated as a girl in the post. I can say more on the video, and we can speak a little bit about the the story itself, how it goes in the Andersen fairy tale, why I don't like it, and thus enemies wherever possible. It's like having an extra attack. Okay, Luigi's Rabbit, Peach's Sentry makes for an excellent decoy target, and area of damage weapons will affect enemies even if they're behind cover. Hit by hit most covers something. I didn't have the chance. Okay, it's okay. Um, so I think turning on a little bit the light will be better in this room. I think that's much better. So I have said that I don't like the story already. When I was a kid, I didn't like how the story glorified death, and I don't know, like when I started listening to it, I was just feeling that this is the worst shit ever. Like that was my reaction, that I don't like it. I remember when I watched the film version, the Japanese version of it. I and I didn't like it, obviously, as I said. I remember um, a sadness in my body, like energy, like it was so intense. It was very intense, and I I remember I okay. It was so intense, and I just wanted to not watch it. And I didn't exactly say that I don't wanna watch it, because I didn't wanna like upset my parents pretty much. But I didn't like the film. That's what I'm saying. Um, and obviously I was too young to express like I don't like this and that. Um, I was only okay. Can I go here? Okay. I was like have to go there though. Okay. So I was only 4, and I remember this feeling. As I said, I didn't like how the girl is alone in the streets, orphan, in the snow. I remember I didn't like this. I didn't want to watch this, but if you ask me, Helga, do you remember Yahweh anywhere? No, I don't. I only remember that I didn't want to watch the film, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't remember much anything else apart from that. So, what a perfect opportunity, I suppose, to watch or maybe listen to the story being narrated. We spoke with my ex about my my favorite story, Scrooge. Yeah, I love Scrooge. I always did. I felt always this is the coolest shit ever. My father says this is because it has the element of um, Halloween and Old Testament theology. Maybe that's the reason. I never liked the Little Match Girl, not in a fraction as I have loved the Christmas Carol story. And why I say that? Because Andersen lived in the same era as Charles Dickens. They were exactly um, contemporaries. They also knew each other. Andersen admired Dickens. I can't really say the same for Dickens. Dickens didn't really like Andersen. They actually had a fallout. Andersen was confused why Dickens treated him like that, and I'm not gonna say that I agree with what Dickens did. Actually, as a matter of fact, I don't agree when somebody ghosts you, because this is what my ex did to me, and what he's always doing to me. So I'm not gonna say well done fucking Dickens for doing that. I'm not gonna say that, but I'm gonna say that I understand why he didn't really appreciate his art, I suppose. Dickens has done shit in his work, in my opinion, like in general in his work. But at the same time, I can't say that his work is not better than Andersen's, because it's more positive. Oliver Twist has a good ending. Um, um, Christmas Carol has a good ending. Great Expectations also has a good ending. I know that. I didn't like hard years, difficult years, something like that. I did difficult times. Probably I don't know how you call this book in English. I have read it in Greek. I didn't like that book. I have to be fair, but uh, but he did better job at giving like his character something better, something like more Christian oriented, if that makes sense. So, Helga, do you prefer an author from the other author because they give happy endings in their stories? Yes, and if you don't like that, feel free to unsubscribe to my channel. I don't mind. That's me. For me, if you can't give a good ending in your story and you just narrate to me something that I can watch on BBC News, on ABC News, on CNN News, on Greek television news, on Chinese television news, every single day, and you are writing to me down a fictionalized version of what I can read in the independent newspaper online, for me you are not a good author, and that's the full story. Okay, that's the gospel truth of Helga. If you can't deliver a good story and you only deliver news, you shouldn't be an author. You should be a journalist, a reporter, a news broadcaster, a TV host in the BBC, and tell us the news that happen every day in the world and how horrible the life is and how everything is hopeless. That's why I say I'm not exactly what you call a hopeful person. I don't have too much hope in me. Actually, one of the reasons I decided to do something different for this video is because I don't actually have any hope left in me. But I'm not gonna destroy my style in stories just because the world is horrible. And the life and politics of Hans Christian Andersen is exactly that. The life is horrible, it is what it is, let's make it a fictionalized version for everybody. It's not enough that we see it every day in our television, it's not enough that we see it every day in our everyday lives, that we are losing people we love, that we never have an explanation for what is happening. All that, we have a guy named Andersen, and he says, you know what, that's not enough for me, let's have a fictionalized version of the events. For me, that's not a good author. For me, that's a good journalist, good historian, good reporter, crime police officer, pretty much like a, you know, like a mystery police officer, Hercule Poirot, good one. Not that good for an author though. I don't see any fantasy into it. If you are opening your Microsoft Word, whether in this century or the previous one, to tell me that there is nothing good left in this world, and if you are shot in the head, you die, if that's all you wanna say to me, I'm sorry if I am destroying your delusions. You are not really a good author. You're not really. Because you are telling me something I already know. Do you have anything else you can tell me that I can dream of before I go to bed? Something to hope? What is your job? To tell me what I can see in the news? Good luck with your journalistic degree then, I suppose, if that's all. Not for me. Anyways, I'm not gonna speak more about that. I will put the video. Let's listen to the story. If we have anything from the spiritual realm to analyze, I'm gonna analyze it. So, have my coffee. My soft drink is here. That's Mario. Oops. Helga, your video game is playing and I have my coffee. Yes, it's Christmas. I love Christmas. I just love Halloween more. I didn't have anything else to say about that, just I love Halloween. Anyways, that's the story.
It was terribly cold and nearly dark on the last evening of the old year, and the snow was falling fast. In the cold and the darkness, a poor little girl with bare head and naked feet roamed through the streets. It is true that she had a pair of slippers when she left home, but they were not of much use. They were very large, so large indeed that they had belonged to her mother, and the poor little creature had lost them in running across the street to avoid two carriages that were rolling along at a terrible rate.
Even from the preface, we see that Andersen, by all probabilities, was an asshole. And if you are like, Helga, how can you say that? I can say that I was 4, I am 24. 20 goddamn fucking years later, I say exactly the same thing. This guy was an absolute asshole. Why? Because I know that there are such people around the globe. I'm not living in a parallel universe like my ex is living in a parallel universe. My ex lives in a parallel universe where the USSR Union is the best thing that has ever happened in the world. I don't live in this planet. This planet, I don't know where exactly it belongs. It's not belonging in the Milky Way in this century, the 21st century, year 2025 of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I don't know exactly which era we live in. With my ex, probably my ex is abducted by aliens and he is taught to believe that the USSR Union was the best thing that happened in the world. I don't live in this reality. I live in a most brutal reality where this union caused the brutal death of many people. So, to recapitulate my argument, I don't live in a parallel universe. I know very well that people around the globe suffer daily, harshly, ridiculously much. And yes, sometimes I also ask my father, why do you permit this? But at the same time, just because I know that there are kids in Gaza dying, as everybody says, that doesn't mean I'm gonna turn this into a fairy tale. Because that's not a fairy tale, that's a tragedy. Why memorize forever the tragedy of people, the tragedy that kids live, instead of either doing something or preaching the gospel to encourage shitheads to change the world? Shitheads that have power to change the world. I don't understand the logic behind this. I never will. I'm not even making this video to convince anybody, as a matter of fact. But we have Andersen from the preface of the story in a Zeusy manner, in the manner of Zeus, in other words. What is he saying? What did he say? The girl was an orphan. She was lonely. She was below 18, walking in the streets in the mercy of everybody, and she didn't even have proper shoes. And the shoes she had belonged to her dead mother, and she lost them when two carriages tried to step on her on the snow. Andersen, I don't care if you are dead, go fuck yourself. I don't know what drove you to write this story. It's the worst abomination I have heard this entire week, and yes, I usually say this, but what you wrote there is so demonic, so utterly disgusting. I have no idea why people marvel in this story. Let's hear it again and let's explain why your mystic here says that this story is abominable.
In the cold and the darkness, a poor little girl with bare head and naked feet roamed through the streets. It is true that she had a pair of slippers when she left home, but they were not of much use. They were very large, so large indeed, that they had belonged to her mother, and the poor little creature had lost them in running across the street to avoid two carriages that were rolling along at a terrible rate. One of the slippers she could not find.
Hold on. You are all doomed. MME Buastrella. Okay. We are doomed to inferior fortune telling and outrageous prices if you see besides Madame Buastrella. Okay. Can I have, I don't want this, I think I took a screenshot. Okay, yeah, I like this. I will put that in my thumbnail. So let's finish with the story here, and then I will go back. Oh, well, thank you, but I prefer to build my house on the solid foundation of science and reason rather than mindless superstition. Divination is not exactly superstition. I have explained why in my other videos. So you don't want to know where to find the last relic? One fortune, please. Over the gardens, under the mountains. The item you seek is in the fountain. Can we get a hint as to what this item is? Even the light of Boastrella's inner eye can't penetrate the darkness in every corner of the unknown. But where you step, not all is as it seems. Are you talking about the ground as one of us trip or something? No? Ahem, well then, I think we've wasted enough valuable time on this sideshow. We'll let you get back to separating the slack-jawed yokels from the money they saved to buy pickled pig's feet. Good day, madam. Helga, is this a good prophecy allegory to analyze? You are all doomed. I like that. So, no, it's mimicry of how divinators work. It's not like the Junkyard and Rachel from the Life is Strange video. So, no, I don't have anything to say. Doomed. So, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Listen again what we said here. You don't, that's what I mean, like you don't have anything to say about here because it's mimicry. It mimics and it is funny. It doesn't have anything spiritual to analyze. That's what I mean. It's more like as usage to avoid divinators. That's good, of course, but it doesn't have anything inherent to analyze. It's just more like straightforward. Never listen to people who do divination. Go the other way. Leave them. You know what I mean?
And nearly dark on the last evening of the old year, and the snow.
Fuck. Hold on, go back. 1 moment.
It was terribly cold, and nearly dark on the last evening of the old year, and the snow was falling fast.
Okay, so it said it was dark and it was cold. So, and that was a. There was darkness and cold in the last day of the year. So new days come, right? Darkness. Helga, that means it was night. Exactly, it was night. What was the plague that hit Egypt before the death of the firstborn? The plague before the final plague that killed the firstborn, as recorded in the biblical book of Exodus, was darkness. The list of the 10 plagues of Egypt in order is blood, frogs, lice/gnats, flies, livestock pestilence, boils, hail, locusts, darkness, and finally the death of the firstborn. When the firstborn of Egypt die, it signifies the beginning of a new era. The Hebrews are permitted to go. Because God plagued everything with darkness, night, he comes like a thief in the night. The revelation to John echoes exactly what the same deity did in the old people. Darkness leads to firstborn. That darkness is not for the vindicated in Christ. They are the ones that are marked with his, they are sealed better with his mark, sealing with God. The person who is fucked up is the spiritual Egyptian. If you see darkness and you are vindicated with Christ, I'm gonna speak here as a very strict American preacher. If you are by all means vindicated by Christ, if Christ asked you to do something and you have done it, you got to 20 power orbs, use them to upgrade your hero skill tree at the battle HQ. Okay. If Christ told you to do something and you obeyed, you have absolutely nothing to worry about. If Christ told you though to do something and you didn't obey him, God save your soul. That's all I'm gonna say. The darkness is not for his vindicated. The darkness is for the disobedient. What do we have in the story of Andersen, the amazing author? We have darkness. What comes after darkness? Dawn. When is the most dark? In the night, just before the dawn, when the moon leaves and you wait for the sun. That's the darkest part of the night. It's the darkest before the dawn. That's what they say, right? That's metaphor here. I don't know if this is scientifically true. Maybe it is, maybe not. I don't know. I'm speaking about allegory here. When is the darkest in the hour? Is it really? Let's see it. Let's see it for a moment. So, is it really the darkest before dawn? No, it is not always. The darkest part of the night is generally around midnight when the sun is on the opposite side of the earth and blah blah blah. In any case, even midnight, that's also a good metaphor. That's what I'm saying. It's the darkest is the midnight when you change day. Wow. So you say that when you change day, that's the okay. Okay, I upgraded them. So when is the darkest, as I said again? When you wait for the sun. Is in the science, for those who want scientific and not allegorically driven examples, it's midnight. Midnight, bestie, is when you change day, even for science. So when the day changes, that's the darkest moment you can ever reach in a night. Wow. If sometimes you lose the moon and then dawn comes, then the darkest moment of the night is then. So, who is fucked up when darkness is at hand? The Egyptian. The ancient Egyptian. The modern spiritual Egyptian, it's always the Egyptian. I don't care if it is biological or spiritual. It doesn't matter. Symbolically speaking, it's always him. So, if you are vindicated with Christ, that's the best moment before your reward, pretty much. Spooky Smasher, you found a new 3D model. Check it out at the museum. What do we have here? We have the people of disobedience. They celebrate Christmas in their houses. Christmas is not something that Jesus ordered to be celebrated. Actually, my father hates it when we have ordered by humans celebrations. I will agree here with the pagans that say that Christianity has stolen Christmas from them because it's actually the birthday of God's Son in paganism. I agree with that totally, fully. My father hates ordered traditions and ordered celebrations. I'm trying to find where exactly it is. Okay. What you see to me is the number of the offerings which you give me, says the Lord. Isaiah 1st. You burnt offerings of sheep and the best parts of the fat cattle are a weariness to me. I take no pleasure in the blood of oxen or of lambs or of goats. At whose request do you come before me, making my house unclean with your feet? Give me no more false offerings. The smoke of burning flesh is disgusting to me. So are your new moons and Sabbaths and your holy meetings. Your new moons and your regular feasts are a grief to my soul. They are a weight in my spirit. I am crushed under them. And when your hands are stretched out to me, my eyes will be turned away from you. Even though you go on making prayers, I will not give ear. Your hands are full of blood. Be washed, make yourselves clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Let there be an end of sinning. Take pleasure in well-doing. Let your ways be upright. Keep down the cruel. Give a right decision for the child who has no father. See to the cause of the widow. Come on now, let us have an argument together, says the Lord. How may your sins, which are red like blood, be white as snow? How may their dark purple seem like wool? If you will give ear to my word and do it, the good things of the land will be yours. But if your hearts are turned against me, I will send destruction on you by the sword. So the Lord has said. The upright town has become untrue. There was a time when her judges gave right decision, when righteousness had a resting place in her, but now she is full of those who take men's lives. Your silver is no longer true metal, your wine is mixed with water. Your chiefs have gone against the Lord, they have become friends of thieves. Every one of them is looking for profit and going after rewards. They do not give right decisions for the child who has no father, and they do not let the cause of the widow come before them. For this reason the Lord of the armies, the strong one of Israel, has said, I will put an end to my haters and send a punishment on those who are against me, and my hand will again be on you, washing away with what is unclean on with soap, and taking away all your false metal. And I will give your judges again at the first and wise guides as it is the past. Then you will be renamed the town of righteousness, the true town. Upright acts will be the price of Zion's forgiveness, and by righteousness will men be living there. By righteousness will men be living there. But a common destruction will overtake sinners and evildoers together, and those who have gone away from the Lord will be cut off. For you will be put to shame because of the trees of your desire and because of the gardens of your pleasure. For you will be like a tree whose leaves have become dry, and like a garden without water. And the strong will be as food for the fire, and his work as a flame, and they will all be burned together with no one to put out the fire. So you read this and you're like, Yahweh is angry. Yeah, he really is. And wait a moment to see the other one that I wanted you to see. So that's Revelation 11. That's Revelation 11. Can you believe that we actually have two passages that relate to the story that we read, and they are both by the end, for the end times? Wow, that's weird, isn't it? And I will give orders to my two witnesses, and they will be prophets for 1,260 days, clothed with hair cloth. These are the two olive trees and the two lights, which are before the Lord of the earth. And if any man would do them damage, fire comes out of the mouth and puts an end to those who are working against them. And if any man has a desire to do them damage, in this way will he be put to death. These have the power to keep the heavens shut, so that there be no rain in the days when they are prophets, and they have power over the waters to make them into blood, and to send every sort of disease on the earth as their pleasure is. And when they have come to the end of their witness, the beast which comes up out of the great deep will make war on them and overcome them and put them to death. And their dead bodies will be the open street of the great town, which is the spirit is named Sodom and Egypt, where the Lord was put to death on the cross. And the peoples and tribes and languages and nations will be looking on their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and they will not and will not let their dead bodies be put in the earth. And those who are on the earth will have pleasure and delight over them, and they will send offerings one to another, because these two prophets gave great trouble to all on the earth. And after 3 days and half, the breath of life from God went into them, and they got up on their feet, and great fear came on those who saw them. And a great voice from heaven came to the ear, saying to them, "Come up here." And they went up on the heaven in cloud, and were seen by those desiring their death. And in that hour there was a great earth shock, and a tenth part of the town came to destruction. And in the earth shock 7,000 persons came to the end, and the rest were in fear and gave glory to the God of the heaven. The second trouble is past. See, the third trouble comes quickly. We see Jerusalem. Wow, Sagar, how did you see that? Yeah. The orphan widow, she doesn't have a father, she doesn't have a mother, she doesn't have a husband. We know that she's a little girl. We don't know exactly what age she is, but maybe I am a little girl. In my language, I'm called little girl because I'm very young. I can't be named as that. Koritsaki, little girl. She can be a woman my age, the little match girl. It's plausible. She doesn't have a husband, she doesn't have a father, she doesn't have a house, she doesn't have anybody. Everybody celebrates in Christmas Eve that the Savior is born. She is wandering in the streets in the snow, in a cold winter, in darkness. Jerusalem, that's Jerusalem. She doesn't have a husband, she doesn't have a mother, she doesn't have a father, she doesn't have anybody, not even a house, not even shoes. And 2 carriages step on her and she loses her shoes. The 2 carriages, that's why I said go fuck yourself, Andersen. It's actually the 2 witnesses. Andersen says that she is without clothing because of the witnesses. That's what he says there. And I don't care if you don't believe me. It's all there. It's a woman, a widow, orphan, motherless. She doesn't have anybody. That's all I'm gonna say. When you say in spiritual language orphan, that can mean widow. Did you see my father? He said the widow, the orphan. That means the homeless, the poor, the people in need. That is when you are a friend indeed, right? Andersen says this girl suffers because of God, because of his witnesses. The witnesses, Andersen, you are dead. I don't care though. The witnesses are dead. How did they stand on this poor girl and she lost her slippers? Can you explain to me a little bit what's going on here? They are dead. If she walks in this town, we speak about this town, right? If she walks there, she has to see their body somewhere, because everybody celebrates. We don't see their bodies paraded because they cause destruction. We see everybody celebrating. And where is she? Walking, and 2 guys step on her slippers and she loses them. This is an allegory, a direct reference to the witnesses. And Andersen gives madness to God, as we say it in Greek, paraphrosini. He's saying that God is crazy, and he actually punishes his bride, his daughter, by having his witnesses take the slippers from her. Should I explain further why this fairy tale is horrible? We are in the first fucking sentence and already the story is corrupted by the devil. I don't have anything else to say about the story. You can by all means close the video and go continue your fucking life however you wanna continue it. Speaking with Zeus, speaking with Fitzgerald, speaking with Andrew, Bashir, anybody. I don't care. I think I am clear from the first sentence that the story is corrupted. Do you wanna see the rest of it? Okay, let's continue. Let's continue if you want to. I'm enough. I'm enough. 19 seconds. Only 19 seconds. And already the stories from the devil.
And the snow was falling fast. In the cold and the darkness, a poor little girl with bare head and naked feet roamed through the streets. It is true that she had a pair of slippers when she left home, but they were not of much use. They were very large, so large indeed, that they had belonged to her mother, and the poor little creature had lost them in running across the street to avoid two carriages that were rolling along at a terrible rate. One of the slippers she could not find, and a boy seized upon the other and ran away with it, saying that he could use it as a cradle when he had children of his own.
So, Andersen, and you are wondering was he a good person, Andersen writes a story and he says that everybody is evil. There's nothing good on this world. Everybody is evil. Wow. I'm not saying anything. I think there are good people in this world. Andersen makes a story about a helpless situation like the Iliad by Homer. Wow, what a coincidence. I wonder why this is a coincidence. Usually it doesn't happen like that. Usually people randomly match what Zeus says. Andersen creates a story that everybody is helpless before you even start narrating the fucking story. The woman doesn't have anybody, she doesn't even have proper clothing. The clothing is stolen from her by the witnesses, and the people that witness that, they take the clothing and they say, I will use it for my kids. Do you want me to say anything else, or am I clear so far that something is very wrong with all this? Or maybe I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put a video. If we think people are bad inherently, can you tell me exactly this woman is bad? Is this woman bad for you? Like that's my question. Like we take the argument by Andersen if we are in the fucking 1 minute through the story. Andersen thinks everybody is evil. I'm not gonna speak about doctrine and say that in paganism, original sin is one of the most fundamental stuff you have to accept once you contact Zeus and you wanna become a pagan or a mystic. I won't say that inherently being evil is something that it is supported by Greek pagan scripture, that it is not supported by biblical scripture, that saying original sin is not something you find in the text themselves. They are narrated by the Christian tradition later after the Bible. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna put you a video and I'm gonna ask you the question: does original sin, like everybody is inherently evil, stand as an argument when you hear this woman speaking? Is she having any original sin in her? Does she? Is she inherently evil? That's the question. Answer me the question. Is this woman inherently evil? Is a question about the original sin still standing after listening to her voice?
My husband, Charlie, he wanted to save young men, just like the one who took his life. Young man. On the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him. forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us.
Tell me, is there original sin? Tell me, is there an original sin there? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, Zé. You read. You were telling me all the time to read what Christians have written down as if it is not part of my culture. You were telling me read all the available traditions of Christianity. This is what you told me. Zé, it's part of my culture. I know this is terrifying to hear it. Like, I know you didn't even know that. It's my culture. You were telling me to read Homer. It was like as if I told you to read Mulan. That's what you were doing. I didn't care though. You get what I mean? So, now that I care to explain myself, listen carefully something. Is there an original sin, Zé? Because I don't think so. I don't think this woman can justify the claims that Andersen is doing in his book, saying that everybody treated harshly the young girl, the witnesses. Let's say if you say he was traumatized by religion, okay. Why the people marveled with what happened to her by the witnesses, if this is true, and they stole the slippers from her and spoke about their own kids and they didn't care about her? Where did Andersen take the idea that nobody is good and everybody is inherently evil if not from Daddy Zeus? That's my question. Feel free to answer me the question using scholarly enough material. I am afraid that the only way to answer this question to yourself is only by ontological ontology. I think the only way to explain why this happens, why Erika Kirk is such an amazing, holy, divine feminine woman, doesn't justify at all what Andersen says. Why Andersen justifies Iliad by Homer but not Erika Kirk? The only way to answer this question, Jay, sure, it's not by saying what Fitzgerald wrote about being a wanderer pretty much in Japan and doing yoga. I'm afraid I can't really justify that through that. The only way to justify it is by saying that Andersen somehow contacted Zeus and Zeus told him to write the story down. I know it's not the scholarly answer you would expect me to say, but I'm sorry, this is the only plausible explanation I can give, because Erika Kirk and her way of speaking doesn't give me exactly the idea of a woman who would see the little match girl in the street being in pain, without clothing, without anybody, and she wouldn't care about her. I'm sorry, it doesn't give me this idea. And if you're like, back then people were like that, but these people were the ancestors of the people today. So Erika Kirk, somehow back in the Victorian era, wow, she had an ancestor. If Erika Kirk is an amazing person today in this century, then by all means probably she was a person of an amazing family and her ancestors were also amazing Christian people. So the ancestor that Erika Kirk had back in the 1800s was by all means a holy Christian historical person, right? So why is Andersen saying that everybody is evil, and why is Andersen so adamant he is in charge to say that everybody is evil apart from possibly himself? That's my question. That's my only question here. Why is he so sure? Like he can be in charge and answer us that, like, he says everybody is evil, so I suppose you are a good one, right? Who told you you are a good guy to say that? I'm sorry, Zé, I can't invoke anybody else again here, only Zeus. I can invoke anybody else. You know, I know him personally, and because I know a little bit of what he usually teaches, I think that's him there. I don't think it's anybody else. You get what I mean? That's the problem. But anyways, I guess people, every person on the world is evil, right? Yeah, figures.
Slippers she could not find, and the boy seized upon the other and ran away with it, saying that he could use it as a cradle when he had children of his own. So the little girl went on with her little naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold. In an old apron she carried a number of matches.
It is always very astonishing for such people. Homer wrote that Apollo, from the beginning of the story, we read that Apollo sent a plague and he killed the Greeks, and we learn that, like, the story is literally written in the manner of, "Hi there, Apollo sent a plague to the Greeks." Nothing else. You don't hear a, "Hi, how are you? Is your day nice? Nice weather. I like your outfit. Nice boobs." Nothing. No. You just go straight to the topic with Zeus. "Hi, I bombarded the Greeks in the army." Wow, amazing. I'm actually so amazed. I'm actually thinking of shitting my pants at this point. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But the problem is, Andersen does exactly the same. "Hi there, the feet of the girl were blue and red from the cold. She is soon to have her feet amputated because the blood will leave her limbs." Do I have to explain anything else about the story? Do I have to? Can I close the camera and go on with my life? Am I satisfactory enough that this story is demonic or not? Game over. Smasher will chase you only if you hit them with a weapon. Why not dash them instead? Shoot smashers only when you are out of range of their chase ability. Activate reaction shots such as Mario's hero sight before attacking a smasher in order to shoot them multiple times in a row. Don't forget to experiment with different types of weapons from the heroes in your lineup. Lots of effective synergies exist between team members using the right weapons. If a particular battle is giving you trouble, don't forget extra health mode. Your heroes will gain extra health without any penalty towards your performance evaluation. The skill tree can be auto-filled anytime without risk. If you're unhappy, you can simply reset it to get your power ups back and build it manually. You can use coins to boot new weapons at Battle HQ. Most weapons have super effects that enhance their abilities beyond the basic damage they do. You can reset your hero skill tree anytime to get your orbits back and try a different skill combination. Experiment all you want. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to the story. Let's go back to the story. Everybody is evil apart from Andersen and Homer. Everybody else. "Hi there, I killed your Greeks. Hi there, the girl is gonna have amputated feet. How are you doing? My name is Zeus." Do you like the story, Zé? Do you like the story? I don't.
It is true that she had a pair of slippers when she... One of the slippers she could not find, and the boy seized upon the other and ran away with it, saying that he could use it as a cradle when he had children of his own. So the little girl went on with her little naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold. In an old apron she carried a number of matches, and had a bundle of them in her hands. No one had bought anything from her the whole day, nor had anyone given her even a penny. Shivering with cold and hunger, she crept along. Poor little child. She looked a picture of misery.
Wow, Andersen is such an amazing person. The bride of Christ has the mark of the beast, and all the good Christians don't buy anything from her. I feel that I have socialized enough for the day. Can I finish the video now, Ze? Can I finish the video? Can I just continue my life unbothered and say that nothing bad happens in the world and live in my bubble that everything is gonna be okay, even though I know nothing is gonna be okay at the end? Can I? Let's read a little bit the revelation, because you might think that I'm imagining things. No, I'm not. I'm not imagining anything. It's all straight there, written down for you to read it. So let's go. Revelation 13, right? 13. Okay, I went directly on that, and I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, you can see, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and his voice was like that of a dragon. Okay, you can see here, this is Persis, and he makes use of all the authority of the first beast before his eyes. Okay, and he makes the earth and those who are in it give worship to the first beast, whose death wound was made well. And he does great signs, even making fire come down from heaven and on the earth before the eyes of men. And those who are on the earth are turned from the true way by him through the signs which he was given power to do before the beast, giving orders to those who are on the earth to make an image to the beast, who was wounded by the sword and came to life. And he had power to give birth to the image of the beast, so that the words might come from the image of the beast, and that he might have all those who do not give worship to the image of the beast put to death. And he gives to all, small and great, the poor and those who have wealth, the free and those who are not free, a mark on the right hand and on the brows, so that no man might be able to do trade, but he who has the mark, even the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is the wisdom. He who has knowledge, let him get the number of the beast, because it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, interesting. So, Papa Persis has fire in his hands. Wow. I am actually bamboozled. He has fire in his hands, and you see that it has, where is it? And he does great signs, even making fire come down from heaven and on earth before the eyes of men. Wow, what is the girl right now holding in her hands in the story? She's holding matches. Wow, what do you do with the match? You light fire. Wow, the girl is Babylon. Wow, why Babylon, Helga? This is the second beast. Yes, because the Babylon whore is actually Persis. It's the false prophet. And we hear here that Jerusalem is actually Babylon. She is deserted by God, and she has fire in her hands, and nobody buys it. She has the mark and she gives it, but only those who have the mark will buy and sell it. So nobody else has the mark of the beast apart from the girl. So everybody that ignores her and treats her like she's shit, including the witnesses, are what? Saints. Ze, can I close the camera? Can I go my day? Did I satisfy your curiosity why I say what I say? Do you hear now exactly what I say about these stories, why I find them deeply, deeply unsettling and weird and crazy and all this bullshit? I think somebody is out there and he's trying to convince me that my God is actually the devil, and that the devil is actually my God. Zeus is Jesus and Jesus is Zeus. That's what I'm saying. And I have a problem with him. I have a serious problem with him. I don't care if he's dead or not. I have a problem with that. I can't tolerate that. I can't. You are telling me that the girl who is selling fire Nobody buys it because they don't have the mark. Whoever, no man might be able to do trade, but he who has the mark, even the name of the beast or the number of his name. Wow. He gave a sign to all. No man might be able to do trade, but he who has the mark, the name of the beast. The number belongs to a man. It is 666. Okay, let's see. I think that's 15, right? Let's go. Let's go 14. I don't remember exactly where it is. Let's go 16. I honestly don't remember where this is. Okay. 17. Okay, let's see Babylon. Wow. And one of the 7 angels who had the 7 vessels came and said to me, "Come here, so that you may see the judging of the evil woman who is seated on the grey waters, with whom the kings of the earth made themselves unclean, and those who are on the earth were full of the wine of her evil desires." And he took me away in the spirit in a wasteland, and I saw a woman seated on a bright red beast, full of evil names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So the beast from the other story, the first beast, has a woman with him. So the guy from the previous story, the 666, is this woman, right? And the woman was clothed in purple, bright red. Hold on a second here. What did he say?
Anyone given her even a penny. Shivering with cold and hunger, she crept along. Poor little child. She looked a picture of misery. The snowflakes fell on her long, fair hair, which hung in curls on her shoulders, but she regarded them not. Lights were shining from every window, and there was a savory smell of roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve. Yes, she remembered that. In a corner between 2 houses, one of which projected beyond the other, she sank down and huddled herself together.
I think it's before
she
that.
Crept along from her the whole day, nor had anyone given her even a penny. Shivering with cold,
Before?
quite red and blue with the cold.
Okay, here, sorry.
When he had children of his own. So the little girl went on with her little naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold. In an old apron she carried a number of matches, and had a bundle of them in her hands. No one had bought anything from her the whole.
So we have purple, bright red. What color did he say?
In an old apron. So the little girl went on with her little naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold.
Red. Do you have red? Bright red. Wow. Purple. Helga, he didn't say purple, he said blue and red. What color do you get when you mix purple, blue and red? Don't you get purple, darling? Let's ask Gemini, because I never have a saying in here. I have to explain myself very, very meticulously, even about my own culture. When I say that Odysseus was taken by Calypso, I have to write down a reference by a scholar, even though this is the story of my culture. It's like saying to a Chinese, Mulan, a Chinese telling me Mulan was the greatest heroine in Chinese literature, and I say, where's your reference? Okay, here is my reference. What color do you get when you mix red and blue? Purple. Wow. That's interesting. So my father says here that the woman who has these colors actually is the same person that Andersen says that is desolated here. So what is Andersen doing? He's mixing Jerusalem and he's saying Jerusalem is actually Babylon. And by doing that, he says what? That if you are a homeless person, if you are desolated, if everything seems gloomy, be happy about that, you're gonna die. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. Okay, let's continue. I don't have any problem with that. I don't have any problem. You like the stories, I suppose. With ornaments of gold and stones of great price and jewels, and in her hand with a gold cup full of evil things and her unclean desires. So she's holding something, probably a cup, probably a match, whatever. And on her brow was the name Secret, Babylon the Great, the mother of the evil women and of the great unclean things of the earth. No, it doesn't say evil women in the Greek. In the Greek, it says mother of all prostitutes, not evil women. That's corrupted Bible. I'm trying to debunk corrupted stories with a corrupted Bible that somebody, I didn't know that's actually caught in camera to this point. So we caught on camera that the Bible is corrupted by Persis, and we are trying to debunk a corrupted Bible by Persis, as Muhammad Hijab said the other day, with this corrupted Bible by Persis, a Persis who wrote a story where Jerusalem is actually Babylon, she is actually Persis, you get what I mean, all this crap. So I have to explain here everything. So let's see now. Let's see the old Greek one. Okay. Let's see the original one, if you can. Where is it? So this is Revelation. Yeah, I said Revelation. Archeo, which means ancient. Okay. So I found it. That's the ancient one. Yeah, that's the original. Because we saw that there is a problem. There is a problem in the translation. So that's the original. Και επί το μέτωπον αυτής and on her forehead όνομα γεγραμμένον, a name was written. That's παρακείμενος, that's past perfect, present perfect symbol. Γεγραμμένον, gram is the verb, γε is the simple perfect, as I said yesterday, λέλικα. Γεγραμμένον, όνομα, written name. Mysterion, mystery. Βαβυλώνη μεγάλη, Babylon the great, η μήτηρ των πορνών, the mother of prostitution. It's not say women prostitutes, that's pornea, that means the mother of prostitutions, και των βδελιγμάτων της γης, and of the abominations of the earth. Και είδον τη γυναίκα μεθύουσαν εκ του αίματος των Αγίων και εκ του αίματος των μαρτύρων Ιησού και εθαύμασαν ειδών αυτήν θαύμα μέγα. And I saw the woman, she was drunk from the blood of the saints and of the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And I wondered seeing this, because it was a great wonder. Okay, that's the old text. This is written between 64 and 95 AD. Yes, that's the original text, and I'm saying that because this is very corrupted. It doesn't say evil women, it says prostitution. I just translated the original ancient Greek text. That's here. You can see that's the ancient, because this is the modern. And let's see what translation they have given this one. Okay, can I open this? Yeah. Μάνα των πορνιών, right? Can I see it, please? I will see it here because I cannot open it. It's for the mobile. I will open it in a moment. Just give me a moment. Yep. Η μεγάλη μάνα των πορνών και των σιχαμάτων της γης. Yeah, it's a very good translation in modern Greek. Wow. I am impressed. I am impressed. They corrupted a Bible in English and they don't show exactly what my father wrote in the original text. I'm actually very impressed. Pardon me, but I had to change my room because my camera was gonna go off. I had to charge it. So as I can see here, I have an article that's irrelevant, but I'm just sharing. She is one of my favorite politicians, Zoe Konstantopoulou. She had an accident with her car today in Saturday. She had an accident in Athens. Her car was outside of the road. She lost control. She's not in the hospital. She's okay, so I'm glad about that. So quick recovery to her. Hope she recovers from her shock as well. She's one of my favorite politicians. She's a left-wing one actually, and she is all about female empowerment. I'm not saying she's perfect. I'm not saying she hasn't done mistakes. I'm not making a saint out of a person who is a human. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that she is unique. She has done many good things for my country, like she has revived the interest in politics to younger generations. So that's a fact. Many people wanted to vote and go and listen to politicians because they were fed up by politicians because of her. She's also a woman that initiated social media meetings, as far as I know, like let's meet and greet shit. She tried to make it more American type of, so younger generations would be interested into listening. She is very much like using emojis and shit to appeal to younger people. She has gone first person on the row in riots about human rights, female women rights and shit. She is not the best person in the world. She has done stuff that I have, and she obviously doesn't believe that either. She hasn't done everything correct. She obviously doesn't believe the same. There are many things she has done that I personally speaking disagree, or I think she should tone down her anger and shit, but at the same time I think she is a very good example of how a politician should be, not exactly perfect, but more down to earth than other people. And here I'm not bashing anybody. I really like the prime minister. I like the previous prime minister as well. I'm speaking about how, generally speaking, the politicians usually are a little bit late into adapt into how younger people want to see them. I like how our prime minister, for example, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, he is using social media and he's playing this older guy that wants to hang out with the younger generation. That is a meme that we have in Greece, and he's trying to play this role so that he is funny, goofy and interesting for younger people to vote him. I really like what he's doing. He's really trying. They have been influenced by America. All our new politicians in Greece, or the old ones tried to customize themselves according to how American politicians are, and I really like that, and I hope they will continue, because people of my age, yes, they still have complaints, but at least they wanna see them speaking, they wanna engage with the content, and that's interesting. That's better. I prefer this. It's more civilized, it's more modern, and more power to all of them in general, and quick recovery to the woman because she hit herself. So I analyzed about the book. I explained why here Jerusalem, who is the abandoned woman, has a match, and you see that poor people, that's why she's Jerusalem, because she is the poor people. She has matches in her hands, nobody buys them, so the poor people, who are the ones that are hurt, are unfavored by God. So Jerusalem is also Babylon. Andersen equates like Babylon with Jerusalem, and he says that the prophet is actually a false prophet, and he's doing that throughout the manuscript. He made the witnesses hate on that little girl, and as I said, we don't have the age, she could as well be underaged. And also in my age, not only underage but also my age, and be a married woman who has lost her husband, because when you say girl, it doesn't mean only under 18, it can also mean 25, it can also be 30. You can say somebody is a girl at 30. You can say, I am a girl, I'm 24, I'm called little girl in my language, okay? So when you hear that, it's not exactly specified what age she is. You can think that she's 5 and 10, but you can also think that she's 25. That's what I'm saying, okay?
He seized upon the other and ran away with it,
Okay.
saying that he could use her as a cradle when he had children of his own. So the little girl went on with her little naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold.
We discussed that.
In an old apron she carried a number of matches, and had a bundle of them in her hands. No one had bought anything from her the whole day, nor had anyone given her even a penny. Shivering with cold,
Poor false prophet, nobody cares about you. And we say that poor people are demons pretty much. They deserve what they get. And the false prophet is actually a poor guy, nobody wants to buy his mark of the beast. It's so destroyed, such a destroyed story, that I have no idea how to save itself. I have to scrap the entire thing and write it from the beginning, a new story. You won't recognize that it is the same story when I will finish with it, because it's so much destroyed. It's utterly destroyed. Everything is corrupted, because once I begin saying that she's actually Jerusalem, then I have to acknowledge that she's actually I have to restart the battle, honestly. Once I start saying that she's actually the false prophet, then I have to clarify that Andersen has mixed Jerusalem with Babylon, the false prophet with the prophet, and she has made the prophet appear like a false prophet that is punished by God. And by this story, he makes everybody appear evil, and this glorifies Zeus, basically. That division, that destruction glorifies Zeus, because the story, the meaning of the story is everybody is evil. The girl is punished. The people treat her badly because they are evil. The witnesses are evil. God doesn't intervene, not for her, not for them, not for anybody. He's distant. He's the impersonal God of Spinoza. Everybody, even God is evil. Even God who is benefited by this? Zeus. You get what I mean?
and hunger, she crept along. Poor little child. She looked a picture of misery. The snowflakes fell on her.
Don't be deceived by a guy that tells you that poor little child, this and that. They don't pity anything. If you pitied her, Andersen, you dead motherfucker, you, because she's dead. That's why I'm saying that. So if you pitied her, you wouldn't have written the story, because the story is not news. It's not ABC News. It's actually a fictionalized version of events based on reality. So what you are doing is you are being sadistic. That's all. End of story. Period.
long fair hair, which hung in curls on her shoulders.
She's also very pretty. Wow. Wow.
But she regarded them not.
Wow.
Lights were shining from every window, and there was a savory smell of...
The one fact that you can see that she might actually be a woman of my age is because she had fair curls, but she minded them not. She didn't care if she was a beauty or not. Wow. She is also girl. Wow. As you can see, the girl actually has a high possibility of being a woman of my age because we speak about her beauty like she's an adult woman. Wow. That means that we have to do with misogynism here actually. We don't have just to do with like a child work as everybody says. We actually have to do with an adult woman who doesn't care about her beauty because she's a sinner and she has to sell matches because Zeus asked her to do that and nobody buys them. Wow. Bad women, will you ever learn? Will you even listen? That's what the story says. Helga, you have very bad mood today. Yeah, I do. I actually very much do.
roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve. Yes, she remembered that. In a corner between two houses, one of which projected beyond the other, she sank down and huddled herself together. She had drawn her little feet under her, but she could not keep off the cold, and she dared not go home, for she had sold no matches, and could not take home even a penny. Her little hands were almost frozen with the cold.
If I do this, this will happen to me. Divination. But Helga, her stepfather was evil. I don't care about the story, I care about the meaning, and the meaning says that her thought was, if I do this, this will happen to me. No promise from God, no promise from anybody. There is nothing you can do to avert what is happening. The only thing you can hope for is divination. You are in the mercy of the spirits, and what the spirits are telling you here, bestie, if you go home, you will die. What an interesting question to ask a person like Andersen. Why will I die if I go home? Do you suppose that there is an Imogen Stodon spirit inside the mansion, Andersen, and if I go there, I will actually realize that you are lying to me about my father, because you say if you go there you might see a spirit and you might die. Don't go there, because if you go and see your dad, he will kill you because you disobeyed him. But actually, if you go home and see your father, you actually realize that you worship the wrong deity all your fucking life. I'm just making assumptions. I'm not saying anything. I'm not scholarly enough if I say that I know something. I'm just hypothesizing for a moment that Andersen is telling me through the story. If you haven't sold your bullshit, don't go home, aka God, because if you go you will die. That's divination. So what if I go and actually Mogen Stodon is not whom they say in the inn that she is, but she's actually somebody else entirely, and they are deceiving me all my fucking life about her? Just throwing questions here. Not gonna answer, I'm just throwing questions.
Perhaps a burning match might be some good, if she could draw it from the bundle and strike it against the wall, just to warm her fingers. She drew one out. Scratch! How it sputtered as it burnt. It gave a warm, bright light, like a little candle. It was really a wonderful light. It seemed to the little girl.
The burning bush, because a match is a wood. A tree. The wood comes from the tree. The burning bush signified the end of the oppression. That what God said. What did he say? Fuck, I hit my own. Anyways. Okay, I'm gonna lose the green guy. Fuck my life. He said to Moses that I heard the cries of my people. I came down to save them. That's what it says. I came down because I remember what I promised to Abraham, my friend. He didn't know me by name. Yahweh. That's my name. And he said that you're gonna tell Pharaoh, let my people go. He won't listen. And then I will strike Egypt with all my wonders. And he said, take this staff in your hand, Moses. With it you will do all my wonders, and I will be with you, Moses. What do you have here? You have the same person. That's the prophet. That's Jerusalem. The prophet, Moses. She has this much stick in her hand. The stick is the staff. It's the same thing. And it symbolizes the tree of the burning bush. That Andersen has turned into a full-blown tree of knowledge. He changed the burning bush, the knowledge of the tree bush, to the knowledge of the tree of knowledge, because he is a fucking mystic. He knew Zeus personally. That's why he's writing this crap down. You can't write that deep knowledge unless you have knowledge of the divine. I don't know what type of divine, but you have knowledge. You can't write this crap down unless you have knowledge. That's what I'm saying. And Andersen writes that, look, I'm gonna tell you something. She had the staff of Moses. She saw the fire of God in the burning bush, but there is no promise of saving you from Egypt, from your slavery of selling shit. There is no promise that after the darkness there will be a punishment for the firstborn of Egypt. Everybody says, why did God kill the firstborn of Egypt? Why did Andersen kill the girl in the end of the story? That's my question. My question is not if my father did his job properly. He did it because he's God. I'm not gonna apologize for my father like my father is a criminal. He's not a criminal. He's God. I refuse to go into this pattern. What I'm saying is, all I'm trying to ask here is, how on earth did he kill the girl? After the darkness came, he kills the girl, and after he kills her, everybody sees her dead. I don't know what this is. All I'm gonna say is that it is demonic. But let's listen.
A little candle. It was really a wonderful light.
Wow.
It
Seriously.
seemed to the little girl that she was sitting by a large iron stove. How the fire burned and seemed so beautifully warm that the child stretched out her feet as if to warm them, when The flame of the match went out, the stove vanished, and she had only the remains of the half-burnt match in her hand. She rubbed...
There's no reason to dream. God is showing you dreams, but when the fire extinguishes, there's nothing left. The dream ends. Stop dreaming, because the dreams come from the liver. They're not coming from God. When God promises something, the fire goes out. Do you want me to quote scriptures here to prove my point? I will do that. I will ask Copilot for a shorter route to give me a summary of what I'm saying. Copilot, give me the verse, don't put out the fire of the Holy Spirit. To read it out. The verse you're referring to is from 1 Thessalonians 5:19, and it reads, "Do not quench the spirit." This short but powerful line is often interpreted as a call to remain open to divine inspiration, prophetic truth, and spiritual vitality, refusing to suppress the fire of conviction, creativity, or revelation that the Holy Spirit brings. If you're reading it aloud, you might emphasize it like this: do not quench the spirit. Can you give me also the passage where Plato in Timaeus says we shouldn't trust dreams because they come from the liver? Yeah, Helga. In Timaeus 71e to 72d, Plato describes the liver as the seat of divination and dream imagery, but not of reason, as the core of the passage. The liver was made to be bright and smooth, like a mirror, so that the soul might see images in it during sleep. But since it has no share in reason or intelligence, it is suited only for divination and dreams, not for truth. Therefore no man achieves true and inspired divination when it is in his rational mind, but only when the power of his intelligence is fettered in sleep or madness. Plato warns that dreams and visions arising from the liver are not to be trusted as rational truth. They are symbolic, chaotic, and must be interpreted by someone sound of mind like a prophet, not by the dreamer themselves. Andersen was a mystic. Andersen was a pagan. Andersen was talking with Zeus. Andersen was talking with the devil. Andersen was a Persis. Andersen was a false prophet. Andersen was a false Christian. Andersen was a false disciple of Christ. Am I scholarly enough or not? I asked you the previous time when I did the Francesca Stavrakopoulou video. I'm not gonna do this shit again. Today I'm doing my own battlefield, the one that I choose to do every single day. I'm talking about books and I'm talking about Persis. Am I scholarly enough today? Did I prove to you that this guy is actually a mystic? Am I convincing enough that he's aligning with pagan doctrines as an ex-pagan myself and not with Christian doctrines, and what he says is actually pretty much disgusting for the Bible? Don't quench the spirit. Don't put out the fire of the Holy Spirit. And what does the girl says? The fire got out on its own. My father, the eternal fire, got out on his own, and the dreams he showed to her didn't come to pass. I don't know what to say here. This is utterly demonic, utterly platonic, as an ex-Platonic philosopher myself.
She rubbed another match on the wall. It burst into a flame, and where its light fell upon the wall, it became as transparent as a veil, and she could see into the room. The table was covered with a snowy white tablecloth, on which stood a splendid dinner service, and steaming roast goose stuffed with apples and dried plums. And what was still more splendid, the goose jumped down from the dish and waddled across the floor, with a knife and fork in its breast to the little girl, ready to be eaten. Then the match went out, and there remained nothing but the thick, damp, cold wall before her. She lit another match, And then she found herself sitting under a beautiful Christmas tree.
You can light up the fire of the Spirit however much you want. Nothing will happen. Because where is He? Where is the promise of His return? Let's read the verse. Copilot, give me the verse where Peter, I think, says that blasphemers in the end times will say Jesus ain't coming back. Yeah, you're thinking of 2 Peter, 3:3-4, where Peter warns about scoffers in the last days. Here's the passage. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. This verse diagnoses a kind of spiritual gaslighting, mockers who deny divine intervention and flatten prophetic urgency into mundane repetition. Peter frames this skepticism as a symptom of lust-driven blindness, not rational critique. What do you see here? Lust. What is the Babylon? A prostitute. Why she is lustful prostitute? Because she's a false prophet, not because she's having sex, not because she wants a guy. It's because she's a false prophet. She's lying in the name of God. That's why she's a prostitute. She's the mother of prostitutions, and that's why she is walking after her own lusts, because that's lust. There's no other vocabulary in the Greek vocabulary, because my language is a deeply erotic language. We are very much driven by erotic imagery and shit. Zeus became a bull and he had sex with Europa. Even if the story is unhinged, it's still part of my culture. It's how Greeks process information. It doesn't have to be divine. It's not divine. It's somebody. It's a Greek who had some weird imagery. That's all about it. But it doesn't matter. That's how my language operates. We're deeply erotic in the way that we speak, even for deities, even for plants, even for imaginary people. That's how we speak. It's cultural thing. And say, if you don't know your bullshit, ask a question first. Like, is this how you generally speak in Greece? Like, do you equate food with sex? Do you equate universe with sex? Is this how you speak in Greece? Yes, this is how we speak. We can find sexuality and eroticism even in food. That's how Greece works. For example, somebody says in Greece, there is an anecdote. It says, I made love with myself because I ate souvlaki. And if you think this is funny, this is how my language works. And if you don't understand it, change job. I say it all the time. Change job if you don't understand that there are different cultures out there that have different understanding of how to speak than you. Just because you will speak about the stars and the moon when you think about me, that doesn't mean that I can't say I want to go to the moon and have sex because I am not a Chinese. This is how Greeks speak. You get what I mean? That's why I wrote that poem when I was 16. Because this is how Greeks speak. You get what I mean? It's not only that non-Westerners have experiences, also Westerners have experiences, and also the motherland of the Westerners, Greece, they also have experiences, the Greeks. You get what I mean? And we can speak about the stars and we can speak about sex and say, I want to have sex in Saturn. If you think this is funny, laugh about it. You are just appropriating my culture, yeah, that's all. You get what I mean?
It was larger and more for her. She lit another match, and then she found herself sitting under a beautiful Christmas tree. It was larger and more beautifully decorated than the one which she had seen through the glass door at the rich merchants. Thousands of candles were burning upon the green branches. The Christmas lights rose higher and higher, till they looked to her like the stars in the sky. Then she saw a star fall, leaving behind it a bright streak of fire.
Someone is dying,
thought the little girl, for her old grandmother, the only one who had. Then she saw a star fall,
I put it behind.
leaving behind it a bright streak of fire.
someone is dying.
Thought the little girl.
Someone is dying. The stars are falling. The stars are falling. When the stars are falling, that means the reign of the beast is over. It means that everything comes to a conclusion for Christ. It's not that you're gonna die. But this is what science says, yes, because science is influenced by paganism. Why do you say this, Helga? That's not supported by scholars. I don't give a fuck, I don't. And this time I'm not gonna explain to you why I say this. Open a pagan book, open the Theogony, open the Protagoras, open anything you like, and to see for yourself that the books that you think are scientific actually have theories proven by pagans many centuries ago. The pagans agree with their enemies, the scientists, and the scientists who have as enemies the religious people, and they agree with the pagans. Answer me why this madness exists. Why does this happen then? What is the reason behind this exists? Why does this happen? That's my question. That's all I'm asking. Why does this happen? Why people who should be enemies, they have so much in common? Why my teacher, who was a communist, had serious issues with my father, but he loved mathematics. Mathematics is something that Zeus loves. Why did he agree with the pagan deity when he was an atheist? I am imagining things here. I don't think I imagine anything. I think I'm seeing. I think that I fucking see what is going on. That's what I think. Okay.
For her old grandmother, the only one who had ever loved her, and who was now dead, had told her that when a star falls, a soul was going up to God.
Wow. Everybody dies. Everybody dies. Wow. Interesting.
She again rubbed a match on the wall, and the light shone round her. In the brightness stood her old grandmother, clear and shining, yet mild and loving in her appearance.
Grandmother, oh, take me with you. I know you'll go away when the match burns out. I know you'll vanish like the warm dove, the roast goose, and the large, glorious Christmas tree.
And she made haste to light the whole bundle of matches, for she wished to keep her grandmother there. And the matches glowed with a light that was brighter than the noonday.
I agree here with the fucking Protestants. Works can't bring you closer to the sky. It's the sacrifice of Jesus who brings you closer to the sky. Wow, I agree with the Protestants. I definitely agree with you guys. Yes, I don't know why she should put so much effort into keeping God, because this is the father figure here, it's the mother figure, the same thing. It's okay. The God, the figure, is kept close to her with her own effort. That would make every Protestant I know go to the ICU, and I would agree with that. I would also need to go to the ICU with this, definitely. And I cleared the battle.
And her grandmother had never appeared so large or so beautiful. She took the little girl in her arms, and they both flew upwards in brightness and joy, far above the earth, where there was neither cold, nor hunger, nor pain, for they were with God. In the dawn of the morning, there lay the poor little one, with pale cheeks and smiling mouth. She had been frozen to death on the last evening of the year.
There by the fountain, is that a boo or a balloon? It looks like a boo balloon. It is missing relic of goodness. Let's bring it back to the pedestal. I see a shortcut down there, past the fountain. Okay. So let's hear again for a moment.
Brightness and joy far above the earth, where there was neither cold, nor hunger, nor pain, for they were with God.
Wow. Such an amazing end. They died, they went dead to my dad. Thank you, amazing story, amazing story. Instead of having people die by the plague of the firstborn and having vindication for the living people of God, you have good people who are a distorted version of Babylon and Jerusalem. At the same time, you mix both things into one, you have them die, and that's a good ending. I'm not gonna say anything.
On the dawn of the morning, there lay the poor little one, with pale cheeks and smiling mouth. She had been frozen to death on the last evening of the year, and the New Year's sun rose and shone upon a little corpse.
Answer my question, Jay. Answer my question. If this is the ascension to God, aka Jesus, who is gonna take us with his hand on the cloud, the second coming, why do we see the corpse of the girl in the ground? Why does the sun shine upon her little corpse? Why? Why is it? Can you answer me? I'm drinking my last sip of coffee. Think a little bit. I'm asking again the question. If this is the rapture of the church, if this is Jerusalem getting raptured by Jesus in the second coming, why we see her corpse on the ground in the New Year's Eve? Why are her enemies live? Why her corpse is on the ground dead? And why the sun, Agathon, I'm giving you a clue here, is laying his eyes on her corpse? Can you answer me this question? Let's answer the question. There was a woman, in the Bible. Her name was Jezebel. And she was the worst queen of Israel by all means. She was killing prophets. She was a prophet killer. The only guy that was saved by her wrath was Elijah, the second Enoch. He was taken alive on the throne of God without tasting death, like Enoch before him. And I'm pronouncing his name in the Greek manner, obviously enough. So, hold on a second. I'm trying to access the book because it's there's a problem with Bible Getaway. So I think I can find it here. Bible Hub, probably. Okay, so I'm searching with you. I don't always have them at hand. Okay. Now when Jehu arrived in Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it. That's 2 Kings 9 to 30, I think, something like that. Anyways, 9, chapter 9, yeah, chapter 9, 2 Kings, we are in the verse 30. Now when Jehu arrived in Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it. So she painted her eyes, adorned her head, and looked down from a window. And as Jehu entered the gate, she asked, "Have you come in peace, O Jeremy, murderer of your master?" He looked up at the window and called out, "Who is on my side? Who?" And 2 or 3 eunuchs looked down on him. "Throw her down," yelled Jehu. So they threw her down, and her blood splattered on the wall and on the horses as they trampled her underfoot. Then Jehu went in and ate and drank. "Take care of this cursed woman," he said, "and bury her, for she was the daughter of a king." And when they went out to bury her, they found nothing but her skull, her feet, and the palms of her hands. So they went back and told Jehu, who replied, "This is the word of the Lord, which he spoke through his servant Elijah the Tishbite. On the plot of ground at Jezreel, the dogs will devour the flesh of Jezebel." Exactly what my dad prophesied came into fruition. Everything that he said happened exactly as he said it will happen. And Jezebel's body will lie like dung in the field on the plot of ground at Jezreel, so that no one can say, "This is Jezebel." On the plot of ground at Jezreel, the dogs will devour the flesh. So you see, they see the fucking corpse, and they say, "Oh, that's the girl." That's echoing this story. Why it is different? Because exactly it is corrupted. The story of the girl is corrupted. Instead of having her vindicated, she is facing the death of Jezebel, but because the story is corrupted, it's not exactly eaten by dogs. She is dead, and you see her corpse. And this echoes the allegory of the cave. She is facing the sun, but she's dead. She's blind. She's dead. She was alive in the darkness of the cave. When the sun, the agathon, came out, she didn't face it. She was dead. Because as my Bible, the corrupted Bible that I have said, here, I'm gonna show this again for everybody. I want you to see that not every Bible out there is a good Bible. Search closely. I'm putting up with every Bible that I come across because I am a Greek and this is my native language. So even if I see a bullshit written down, wrongly translated, I can say this is bullshit because it's my language. But because it's not your language, bestie, look carefully what Bible you are consuming. I suggest Gideon Bible, King James Version, New King James Version, and I've also seen the American version is also a good one. I'm not quite sure if I pronounce it correctly. I checked this one. It's a good one as well. If you ask me to be very strict with that, New King James Version, bestie. Take one version that is from a very good translation. King James Version is a very good one, KJV. Take a new one, a modern one, so you can understand your bullshit. You don't have to learn Shakespeare to understand the Word of God. That's what I'm saying. So take that. If you want something poetic, Gideon Bible is the best one I have seen, personally speaking. So look here, baby. Secret Babylon the Great, the mother of the evil women and the unclean things of the earth. What did he say? This is the corrupted Bible, as I said. That's not what it says. The Greek Bible says prostitution. It doesn't say evil women. Pornion, that's prostitution. It's not evil women. Evil women in ancient Greek is evil is kakos, kaki, kakon. Okay, women, gini. So that's gine, right? I'm trying. Okay. Yeah, gine, kake. Right. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. If it is, yeah, evil woman, the mother of the evil women, yeah, so the imitir των κακών γυναικών. Η μήτρη των κακών γυναικών. Exactly as we say it in modern Greek. As we say it in modern Greek. I'm trying to think. Η μήτρη των κακών γυναικών. That's ancient. And modern is η μητέρα των κακών γυναικών. That's abomination. That's abomination, and you can see what I'm talking about in the story of Andersen. He has the same daddy as this person who wrote the Bible. What Bible is this? I want to speak about that for a moment. What version is this? Easy to read Bible. So this Bible, guys, bad translation. Don't buy that. Don't download the app. That's what I'm saying. I have it. I will continue have it because I don't care. If I see it, I spotted the bullshit. It's my language. The Old Testament, the New Testament, sorry, is written in my language. I can spot the bullshit when I see it. But because it's not your language, be careful what Bibles you consume out there, because Persis is corrupting the Bibles. And yes, people like Mohammed Hijab are correct to point this out, that there are Bibles out there that have no connection with the original. Yes, I agree with that. And thank God I am a Greek and my Bible is actually the original text. As I say always, rolling, having her manuscript in Microsoft Word, not the Chinese publisher, the translator translating Tom Riddle, writing his name, not Tom Riddle, but actually Zegao, because he can't translate it properly. You get what I mean? If you change the name, that's a completely different person. It's not the same person anymore. That's what I'm saying, okay? So, what did we see? She's dead, and what did we see? She's not only dead, she's facing the sun dead. Wow. Instead of having a firstborn of Egypt plague, we have the sun seeing her dead. Wow. So we took the story of God and we turned it to a pagan myth from the Republic by Plato. Wow, I'm interested, but I'm not impressed. I'm interested, I'm not impressed. That's what I'm gonna say.
The child still sat in the stiffness of death, holding the matches in her hand, one bundle of which was burnt. Poor thing, she tried to warm herself, said some. No one imagined what beautiful things she had seen, or into what glory she had entered with her grandmother on New Year's Day.
Look here.
New Year's Day.
Dedicated to the poor and the homeless. Directed and illustrated by Pedro de la Puente. Narrated by Tom Candia and Cayentana. Producer is Gonzalo Boras, music is Zach Harvalacha, editing is Don Butcher, sound mix Joe of Warders. Special thanks to Rodriguez and Vicente. Please give us a like, share and subscribe if you want more stories. Okay, so all of your names that I'm reading here, I read all your names. I didn't read them for fun. Can I ask you something? What exactly are you dedicating this story for? For what reason? Like, if you are homeless and poor, you're gonna die, and you will go to heaven and see your dead grandmother. That's the point of the story. Like, you will freeze to death in a New Year's Eve, the day that my father was born. The Savior of the world was born. Christmas Day, I don't care. But Helga, Jesus was born in summer. I don't care if he was born in Halloween, and I don't care if he was born in gay parents. That's not the point. Listen what I'm saying and not nitpick how I'm saying it. Christmas Eve means the birth of Savior, the day that my father was born. This girl, what did she suffer? Death. And you dedicate this story to the homeless people, the poor and homeless people. So don't worry, Jesus is a nice person. In the day he was born, you're gonna die if you are poor and if you are homeless. That's what you say there. That's the point. What is the point of the point of the story? What is it? The point of the little match girl that I hate since I was 4 years old. I'm 24, 10 years later. Why I hate this story? What is this story about? The story is about dying, glorifying death, and the wicked have no retribution after the darkness. Seriously? Are you sure about that? No pity, kitty. Scratch and claw your way to victory with this graceful blaster that for some reason gives you sneezing fits. Okay, so I'm not gonna play more, bestie. I'm gonna finish the fucking video, but I want you to listen something. I want you to listen from the Prince of Egypt as I will go around, and that's how I'm gonna finish the video, Ze. The Prince of Egypt, the discussion between Pharaoh and Moses, and what my dad says in the end through Moses. So this is the film. Let's see where exactly I have it. Okay, I went exactly where it is. So there is darkness everywhere. There is darkness everywhere. That's the fucking last. You can see exactly where I landed. It landed exactly there, like I did it with my finger randomly, and it landed exactly there. That's what I'm saying. So, darkness in Egypt. Everywhere is darkness. And what are they doing? They discuss, if you don't let my people go, my God will strike your firstborn dead tonight. This darkness is not for me. This darkness is for you, Ramses. This darkness is for you, Pharaoh. That's not for me. That's not from God for me. Yes, I see the darkness, but that darkness is not for me. That's not judgment for me. That's judgment for you. And if you don't do what my dad says, he will strike your firstborn dead. That's what it says. So let's listen until they fight, and then Moses declares the striking of the firstborn of Egypt, because God is like, okay, he's not listening. I'm done. I'm coming in Egypt, and I'm taking all the firstborn, and I will strike them dead, because I am God, and I have power and authority over death and over life. That's the explanation of it. So,
but one must wonder why. Because no kingdom should be made on the backs of slaves. Ramesses, your stubbornness is bringing this misery upon Egypt. It would cease if only you would let the Hebrews go. I will not be dictated to. I will not be threatened. I am the morning and the evening star. I am Pharaoh. Something else is coming. Something much worse than anything before. Please, let go of your contempt for life before it destroys everything you hold dear. Think of your son.
I do. You Hebrews have been nothing but trouble. My father had the right idea about how to deal with your people.
Ramesses.
And I think it's time I finished the job.
Ramesses.
And there shall be a great cry in all of Egypt, such as never has been or ever will be again.
and what does he say? He's wishing on his own grave, basically. He says there will be cry in Egypt like nobody has heard it again. And what does he say exactly? Let's dig my grave and let's go inside my grave. That's exactly what he does, because yes, there is a cry in Egypt, in this fictionalized version, obviously. But who gets inside this grave? His son. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So if be careful what you wish for. Be careful if you are disobedient. Be careful what you wish for, because actually you're gonna get your karma. And I'm saying this in the most pagan, Buddhistic sense I can say it. You're gonna get your karma, bestie, eventually. That's what I'm saying.
Ramesses, you bring this upon yourself.
Odd fountain. You found a new artwork. Check it out at the museum. Okay.
has come to me again, saying, "Take a lamb, and with its blood, mark the lintel and posts of every door. For tonight I shall pass through the land of Egypt and smite all the firstborn. But when I see the blood upon your door, I will pass over you, and the plague shall not enter."